Wow, it's been a while, hasn't it? Oh God, look at my glasses on my head. Look at that. No, we'll take them off. It's been a while, but I've been busy as ever, and I'm sure you have too. But I just wanted once again to get some content on here. My page and the work that I'm doing around that is a passion, and it's going at full tilt, which I'm really pleased about. And the discussion and the debate that I'm having with people is exactly what I want. And during these discussions and during any work, any sort of books that I'm reading, things will pop into your head, and I've got one that I'm going to share. There are many transformational type strategies that people use for sorting out their life or sorting out problems that are going on. And you may think, oh, the last thing I need is just another set of steps to follow. Well, I'm going to be following these, so you're more than welcome to have this. And it's my 4Ds. It's living life, and I haven't even titled it. You know what? It's living life in 4 dimensions. We've heard about 3-dimensional. Well, I'm going for 4th dimension. I want to take you into the 4th dimension, the 4th dimension with regard to transformational change. And I'm just going to get my note, which is here. If anybody sees me taking stuff off the wall there, I have a project that I'll be discussing in the weeks to come. That is just an absolute passion of mine. Anyway, living life in 4 dimensions, in the 4-dimensional way. I think basically whenever there's an issue, whenever there's a problem, whenever there's something you want to do, whenever you're going to do something, then we need some kind of boost, or we need some kind of strategy to get through what it is that's troubling us. So by living life in a 4-dimensional way, you approach these problems with the 4Ds. The 4Ds, what are they? You're screaming, well, the 4Ds, come on. The 4Ds are, and I've written them down here, is disrupt, dissect, dilute, and dismantle. Now, it came about as I was listening to a particularly wonderful book, which has really impacted on me, thanks to my sister, who put it under my nose, which was Mel Robbins' The 5-Second Rule. You may have heard of it. Please read it, inwardly digest it, document it, whatever you want to do with it. She's fantastic. And I was talking only this evening with my wife about it, and I said, most people in the transformational world that I'm listening to have had some kind of rough start or in life, and I can't put myself in that bracket at all. But what I can do is I can say that there are certain things that I've done and I am going to keep doing that I want to share. And I just, as part of this, I seem to have come up with something popped into my head. The universe told me, whatever you want to call it, that we should be living in a 4-dimensional world. So in terms of disrupting patterns, basically, is the key, or one of the keys that I'm going to be using in order to make some transformations. I'm going to disrupt, I'm going to get in amongst it, and I'm not going to follow the old story, the old pattern, because I think the moment you do, you default into your subconscious programming, and then you go off and you are back, well, you're actually no further on. So we're going to disrupt any patterns that I see. The second one is I'm going to dissect. Now, a lot of people don't like to analyze their problems, but it really is important because you need to look at what it is that's troubling you and how it's troubling you. So we dissect this particular issue, whatever that is. The way I do it is visually, and you can do it in things like mind maps. If you've heard of those before, you can write on a bit of paper, you can talk it through, you can think about it, you can meditate on it, but generally you need to have a look at how it all lays out and the component parts of it. So you disrupt it, you dissect it, you then dilute it. And we, by through the dissection process, we start to dilute the problem. We start to think, do you know what? I've built this up to something that it's not. And actually, by diluting it, you start to break it down. You start to water it down into something a little bit more manageable, and something you can definitely deal with. And then the final part is you dismantle it. You take it apart. You just take the pieces away, and you just make sure that it doesn't come back. You make sure that those component parts, one part is put in Australia, one part is put in Devon, one part is thrown over your shoulder, and the other part is thrown in the bin. You get rid of that thing. Okay, so disrupt, dissect, dilute, dismantle. Living life in 4 dimensions. So there's lots of this stuff, but I think, sometimes we just need those little cheesy kind of routines that just to motivate us enough to think, you know what, this problem that I'm dealing with, maybe I could use the 4th dimension rule. Maybe I could use Mel Robbins, an F5 second rule. Maybe I could use some Wayne Dyer information. Maybe I could use something from A Course in Miracles. Whatever it is, it will only work if you want it to. What I mean by that is there's lots of information out there that you can choose from, lots of information that will speak to you. This particular book I've just read spoke to me in a very prominent way, profoundly. It may not be the same for other people. So in terms of change, there's so much information out there. I'm just adding in my 2 pennyworth, and try it. Who knows? It might work for you. And if it does, feedback to me. Let me know on the page. Even if it's an absolute load of nonsense. Once again, I'm just documenting and I'm just sharing. So have a good day. I'll be back soon.